So it's lunchtime here at Doncaster, and I've got a moment to have a swift half here at the Draftsman. But the plan is that I'm going to be going to Peterborough now, and in any given hour there's 4 or 5 trains going out of Doncaster for Peterborough, and they take roughly about 50 minutes, except one that takes getting on for 2 hours. So obviously, which one are we getting? Yeah, we're going to get the slow train to Peterborough. So come on, let's go and investigate the route through Lincolnshire.
Our Class 170 Turbostar is sitting on the south-facing bay platform, that's platform 5. So let's jump on and have a look. And it's a 2+2 layout with tables and airline seats and a good amount of luggage racks too. And I think this green maquette betrays the unit's previous life with West Midlands trains. And I'll take a pair of airline seats for this ride, and whilst the style is a little dated, these seats are pretty comfortable. So let's do a quick seat tour. Away from the table seats, legroom is fairly tight for me, though there is a metal tray table and it's quite clean. The armrests are retractable and of a generous width, especially in the centre. And overall the seat cushion and the back give very good support. There's no underseat power supply, although there is chewing gum. The overhead racks are also quite large, making for a good luggage provision. So as we pull away from Doncaster under the watchful gaze of St James Church, let's have a look at the map of this somewhat unconventional route to Peterborough. Well, the East Coast main line goes south through Retford, Newark and Grantham, but just beyond Doncaster we will head out southeasterly into Lincolnshire, with our first stop at Gainsborough Lee Road. After another intermediate stop at Saxelby, we'll arrive into the county seat of Lincoln. 2 more stops at Metheringham and Ruskington are followed by a loop around Sleaford to ensure that we arrive at the station not needing to reverse. Then there's 1 more stop at Spalding before a pretty much straight line run into Peterborough, where we'll be reunited with the East Coast main line. This convoluted route to Peterborough takes just under 2 hours to complete the 94-mile journey. And the average speed is 49 miles per hour, which I don't think is too bad. And back at Doncaster we pass a Grand Central Voyager, which is on its working north to Sunderland. And soon we've left the main line and are heading out past the vast car parks of the Yorkshire Wildlife Park. Beyond the Wildlife Park we leave Yorkshire, and somewhere in these fields we pass fleetingly through Nottinghamshire before entering Lincolnshire, where we follow the Warping Drain before turning southbound to cross more waterways before coming upon the Chesterfield Canal. Oh, and we're in Nottinghamshire again, at least until we cross the Trent. As you might expect, there aren't many passengers on this leg of the journey, but at least our 170 is quiet and smooth, and it can easily match the line speed along here that never really gets over 60 miles per hour. Out of the other window I spy the cooling towers of the West Burton A coal-fired power station, which was turned off in 2023. Once across the Trent, the line for Brigg and Grimsby peels off to the left towards the hardly used Gainsborough Central Station. But we will continue on for Gainsborough Lee Road. Lee Road sits on the south edge of the town, but this didn't stop the LNER renaming it Gainsborough North in 1923. Mind you, the name only lasted about 6 months before the more sensible Lee Road name was adopted. And it really is a lovely autumnal day to enjoy this run as we head out for Saxelby. The signal box at Stowe Park looks to be almost the last vestige of an old railway station and yard. and soon we'll roll into Saxelby, where 1 or 2 passengers wait to board at this lovely old station, which incidentally is now a private house. After the station, the line crosses over the Foss Dyke, and we'll now track this waterway through to Lincoln. And what a lovely watery way it is to enter the ancient city of Lincoln, where incidentally we are about to change trains. Our guard has informed us that this train has developed a minor fault, so we'll swap for another Class 170 at Lincoln, while this one will work back to Doncaster.
Just in front of this, when we pull up, there'll be a train just in front of us to replace this one.
If you look really hard, we get a tiny glimpse of Lincoln Cathedral. And then we're into Lincoln Central at 13:36, spot on time. Lincoln's Grade 2 listed station looks to be quite beautiful, but I've no time to investigate as our forwarding train to Peterborough is ready to depart. And it's another EMR 2-car Class 170. And this one is significantly busier than the previous train, but that doesn't stop me walking into the coach to sit in exactly the same seats as I was in before. After the changeover, we are only 4 minutes late out of Lincoln, as the line to Market Rasen swings north and we head south for Sleaford. And we cross over the A15 trunk road and we are in the Lincolnshire countryside once again. This is definitely a busier section of the line, and there's plenty of local journeys being made between Lincoln, Sleaford and Spalding. Metheringham station has come back from the dead, as it was opened in 1882 but subsequently closed in 1961, only to reopen in 1976 with funding from Lincolnshire County Council. We've also been travelling for about an hour now, so this marks the halfway point of this illogical route from Doncaster to Peterborough. Of course, whilst it's illogical for a person to travel this route, one of the main strengths of the line is that large amounts of freight can move north and south along here, avoiding the East Coast mainline bottlenecks. This Lincolnshire farmland is very flat indeed. Of course, that's what helps the train have a decent average speed, as there's precious few gradients on this line, and actually not that many curves either. Coming into Ruskington, we're now just 2 minutes late. And just like Metheringham, Ruskington was also closed in 1961, only to be reopened again in 1975. From here it's a fairly short hop to the Sleaford North Junction, where the Sleaford avoiding line will continue southbound, but we will have to loop right around the town in order to enter the station from the west. This odd configuration of lines has made Sleaford a place where it used to have 4 signal boxes named North, South, East and West. Oh, and Sleaford is also where you can change for Grantham or Boston or Skegness. And whilst the signal boxes are no longer all in operation, we will have still traversed the North Junction, the West Junction, the East Junction, and finally the South Junction. As the train crosses the River Glen, we get a good look at the Pinchbeck Water Tower. Now, such towers are a feature of the landscape around here, as they helped to provide enough pressure for the mains water system. And coming into Spalding, we can see the wonderful, almost Art Deco Chatterton Tower, which is a combined water tower and offices, which was built in 1955. And then the station itself is a lovely Great Northern Railway station dating from 1848. Spalding is now a through station with routes out to either Sleaford or Peterborough. But back in the day it would have been a busy junction station with further routes radiating out to Boston, Kings Lynn, March and Bourne. For us today we've just got the dead straight run down to Warrington Junction and the East Coast Main Line. And our driver can stay close to the line speed of 75 miles per hour pretty much all the way. Price-wise, I bought an off-peak single for the journey, and with my 1/3 railcard discount it came out at £21.20. Now, given that taking the faster route with LNER would have cost me around £15, I think we can safely say this is a route for rail nerds only. By now there's fewer people on the train, reflecting the local service that this provides within Lincolnshire itself. And so, just north of Peterborough, we join the East Coast Main Line at Warrington Junction, and then soon we will be at Journey's End. But not before we pass the major GB rail freight yards and depot before making the final approach into Peterborough Station.
Ladies and gentlemen, a few moments' time we're sure to be arriving into Peterborough with the service terminates.
And here we are at Peterborough at 14:49, so just 3 minutes late, making our final journey time just a shade under 2 hours. Our EMR unit nestles close to a Great Northern service due to head southbound. Ours will be making a quick turnaround to head back up through Lincolnshire. I suppose that seeing as we've come this far, we should maybe have a quick look outside at Peterborough Station, although honestly, it's not a favourite of mine.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little trip from Doncaster to Peterborough. Is it the quickest way between Doncaster and Peterborough? Well, no, of course it isn't, but is it the most interesting? Well, it could be. It was quite interesting coming through Lincoln, getting my first ever look at Lincoln Cathedral. So yes, a fun little diversion between Doncaster and Peterborough, in my opinion. So do let me know what you think in the comments. So I'm here at Peterborough waiting for my train back down to London and then home to Devon. So all it leaves for me is to say goodbye and thank you so much for watching, and thank you as always for all your kind comments and interest in the videos. And I'll see you next time I'm riding the buses, the trains, the ferries, aeroplanes, who knows, but I'll see you then.
As Johnny says, do let me know in the comments if this is the kind of daft diversion that you'd make just to ride through some places that you've not seen before.